Modi just yesterday has said that any kind of reforms that come, they disturb the status quoists who have benefited from status quo. Is it that this Prime Minister has the forge and the bureaucracy with him, that earlier Prime Ministers didn't have it, and that is why the MOD, the MHA, the defense, the uniformed soldier, they are not on the same page? Is it that the earlier Prime Ministers didn't have it and this Prime Minister has it?
Well, yes, this Prime Minister, firstly, he has got a very clarity of vision and he has got the ability to take decisions. He is very right in telling that all status quoists will have some doubts, will have some genuine fears. It requires a certain clarity. There's a lot of clutter and confusion, and to take it out, you need a very clear-headed leadership. When he is clear-headed, people down the line also become clear-headed. Probably the earlier regimes created a muddle because they themselves were not clear. What did they want? What transformation they want to bring about? And what is the cost, and are they prepared to pay that cost? With the Prime Minister, I think the entire army, and let me tell you one thing, late General Rawat, he is not here, he was one of the persons who was spearheading it very this way, successive army chiefs in the last few years. I think it has been going on for last 3 years or something like that, that we had been deliberating and thinking and this thing like that. I had seen large number of meetings over this thing and other. Smallest point, smallest detail has been gone into, and there is a total support, there is a total commitment, there is a total desire and also an enthusiasm about bringing about this change. That these doubts were in our minds also. We resolved those doubts. Okay. We tried to find out how we can minimize that, how we can mitigate the possible threats and the dangers.
So you've been with Mr. Modi since he took office in 2014. There's been a doctrinal shift in India's relations with Pakistan since he's become Prime Minister, since you've been the NSA. You've seen several regimes change in Pakistan. Do you think, from a security perspective, is it possible for this kind of, I will not talk to you, you have to stop terror, till then I will not talk to you? And can nations prosper with that attitude going forward?
Now, I'll tell you one thing. We cannot have peace and war at the choice of our adversary. If we have to protect our interests, we will decide when and with whom and on what terms we will have peace. When our core interests are involved, there is no question of peace at any cost. There has got to be a peace. We want very good relations with our neighbors, Pakistan included. We would like to have good relations with them. We would like to have very normal relations with them. But certainly the tolerance threshold for terrorism is very low. We certainly would not like to make our citizens as sitting ducks for the terrorists who come and this thing. Thank God, and I think I must this thing to the God. In last 8 years, this country has not seen any terrorist this thing except Jammu and Kashmir, which has been this thing of a proxy war. So it's a different type of a proxy war. Just before that, see, between 2005 to 2014, we had Bombay, we had Pune, we had Kanpur, we have got Delhi, we have got this whole range of this, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, and other. What was the whole range of this thing the country was being this way? If we were not firm, if we were not very decisive, if we did not have the clarity, we will fight it. And we will not beg for peace by any terms.
So you spoke about Jammu Kashmir, so I have to say this because we saw that when Article 370 was taken back, you went there, you went to Kashmir, you spoke to the people. We saw that happening. What do you have to say to people who are victims of these lone wolf attacks which are happening? Yes, I agree that that terrorism as such from Pakistan is gone, but then these are these lone wolf attacks, soft targets which are going. How will you cope with that? How will terror end in every form in Kashmir?
Well, this is a problem of security, and we are dealing with it, and we are dealing with effectively. Firstly, you must understand one thing. Post 2019, the mood and the temper of the people of Kashmir has totally changed. People are no more in favor of Pakistan, in favor of terrorism, in favor of this thing. You can see, where is Hurriyat today? Where are those Bandh calls? Where is this Friday Hartals? They have all gone, this thing like that. But some individuals, some young boys who are misled or who are they are getting into this thing. We are doing our best to persuade them. Their families are trying to persuade them. A lot of change has come about, but still there are few persons and some individual tanzeems, the militant organizations and others who are still operated and go by a mistaken notion of their beliefs or whatever is that they want to be the Fidains and they want to come. They do create problems for us. We are fighting them. And we are fighting them with total resolve. There is no way to deal with the terrorists. We don't deal with terrorism. We have to deal with the terrorists. And terrorists, their equipment, their weapons, their explosives, their money, and we on all fronts are trying to tackle it. And
So
we are very hopeful that in another few months we'll be able to get it.
the Kashmiri Hindus, especially the Pandits, they feel very let down, to some of them, that there is so much energy expended in bringing these terrorists or militants or separatists back into the mainstream, that those who have supported Mr. Modi, the BJP and this government all through, that they are being taken for granted and their security is not of paramount concern to the security establishment.
Firstly, I don't think that is the real feeling of all Kashmiri Pandits or people who have been displaced. But yes, they are a vulnerable section. They need protection. They have got to be protected. Government has taken various measures in the past. Probably much more has to be done, and that is being done. We have got to see that wherever they are and whatever protection they require, because they can be the soft targets, and no government will be able to give an individual protection to each individual in any village or far off places. So we have to find out the systems, and best thing is that we go on the offensive against the terrorists and try to see that these persons who possibly can threaten their lives or their properties and others, they are accounted for.
So where are we vis-a-vis China? It's now 2 years since the Galwan incident, and there seems to be an uneasy peace. Do you feel that China has put on hold its expansionist policy with regard to us, with regard to Indian territory?
Well, we have got a long pending a territorial dispute with China. We have made our both intentions and this thing very clear to China. And they are aware of the fact that, well, we will not tolerate any transgression. There had been some unsavory incidents in 2020. We have been able to, through the talks, through the negotiations, through the persuasion and others, resolve some of it. Few points still remain to be resolved and others. We will continue our efforts. At the same time, we have got to ensure that is we are vigilant and we are able to protect our borders totally.
So internal security, external relations, these are mainly conducted behind closed doors, in hush hush manner. Some of it is visible to common people, but there is also a view that, keeping in nature with federal structure, things like what has been done, the Agniveer scheme, maybe there can be a more consultative manner in dealing with these apprehensions. Do you feel that there is a time that the time has come to change how internal security is, decisions regarding internal security are taken in this country?
Management of security is a highly layered phenomenon. There are layers and layers and layers. There has got to be this thing where there is a complete insulation and it has got to be protected, and people should know only on the basis of need to know. If they have got either, if they can neither contribute nor that they are accountable for anything, and you take them into confidence and others, probably it is not from them, but once it becomes public, our adversaries will take advantage of that. So we have got to maintain a certain amount of secrecy. As far as the consultative process is concerned, India's democracy and India's this thing is so open. If it was not such a this thing, you would not find that on every issue, if there are 100 people, there are 101 opinions, and they are freely expressed from the street to the press to the media and everywhere.
So you spoke about India's adversaries taking advantage of any kind of unrest which happens in India, but then we saw with regard to the prophet remarks and the hijab protests, that people who we had presumed had become non-adversaries of ours had suddenly started making comments, had suddenly started doubting India's democracy or India's inclusive society. Do you feel that these protests have gone beyond this and have damaged us terribly?
Well, it has, in the sense India has been projected or rather some disinformation has been spread against India, which is far from the realities and the truth. And probably there's a need for us to engage them, to talk to them and convince them. And you would have find that, well, wherever we have gone or wherever we have engaged with the concerned people, both outside and inside, we have been able to convince them and try to find out this thing, and it will subside. But it happens. When people get emotionally aroused and others, sometimes their behavior is little disproportionate to the actual event, but it is this thing.
Does it put the security establishment on a back foot when these kind of street protests take place on very sensitive topics like the Agnipath scheme?
Well, I don't think that is it puts this thing. The only thing is when the law is transgressed. If there are protests, if there is a point of view that people want to have this thing, they have got the right to dissent. In a democracy, that is a right that should be honored, and that should be it should be given ample space. But when it starts hurting the national interest, when it starts undermining the national security, when it starts threatening the life of a law-abiding common citizen, when it starts causing pain to him, it becomes intolerable. And this is what our law says, this is what our constitution says, and that is why the law enforcement agencies are bound by the law, they are bound by their oath to protect the people, to protect their interests, to protect their properties, and not allow the miscreants and the anti-national elements to make better of the society.
So as I wrap up, I just have one question on Afghanistan and the recent attack on Sikhs out there, and India giving visas to them. Where is it going now? Are Hindus and Sikhs and other minorities, will they find home in India? Will there be, will we increase the number of people that we take from Afghanistan into India? What happens with CAA? Will that come into force?
Well, I think it's very clear. CAA very clearly says that in our neighborhood, in case any of these the minorities there are on the basis of their religion are persecuted, we will give them. We have given the visas to a large number of Sikhs, and I think as the flights are available, some of them will be coming back, and others will apply. Probably will look at their cases very, very sympathetically. So it was a very unfortunate incident. It should not have happened, but there are forces, the terror and this thing, violence. They are the things in which we have to live with in the modern times. But Government of India is doing everything, and it has assured the Sikhs there and the Hindus there. I think there are very few Hindus left there, but they have assured them that India will stand by its commitment and by its assurances.
So towards the end, do you have any message for youth who feel disillusioned and disheartened that maybe some of them were part of the protest, regret it, and would like to take the Agniveers? Is it over? Are the doors shut for them?
Well, as far as the message to the youth is concerned, ये मैसेज बड़ा क्लियर होना चाहिए कि सेना में जो लोग जाते हैं वो केवल पैसे के लिए नहीं जाते, वो एक जज्बे के साथ जाते हैं। उनमें देश प्रेम होता है, उनके अंदर में राष्ट्र की भक्ति होती है, उनके अंदर में यौवन की शक्ति होती है। वो इसको इन्वेस्ट करते हैं अपने आप को और सोचते हैं हम देश के लिए क्या कर सकें। अगर वो भावना नहीं है तो आप इस करियर के लिए नहीं बने। इसमें केवल हम उन्हीं यूथ को चाहते हैं। आपकी ट्रेनिंग कितनी है, आपकी फिजिकल फिटनेस कितनी है, यह आवश्यक है, लेकिन इससे भी ज़्यादा आवश्यक है कि आपकी मानसिकता क्या है। तो अगर कोई भी यूथ अग्निवीर बनना चाहता है, और मेरा सारे यूथ को इस देश के से यही है, मेरा मैसेज यही है, पॉजिटिव हो, बी पॉजिटिव, हैव फेथ इन द नेशन, हैव फेथ इन योर लीडरशिप, व्हेन यू जॉइन द आर्मी एंड अदर्स, द लीडरशिप देयर, हैव फेथ इन द सोसाइटी एंड हैव फेथ इन योरसेल्फ। दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। स्वामी विवेकानंद कहते थे, पुराना धर्म कहता था कि नास्तिक वो है जो ईश्वर पर विश्वास नहीं करता, नया धर्म ये कहता है कि नास्तिक वो है जो स्वयं पर विश्वास नहीं करता। अगर आपको अपने ऊपर विश्वास है तो आपकी फिजिकल फिटनेस, आपकी मेंटल फिटनेस, आपकी ट्रेनिंग, और आपकी आयु को देखते हुए आपके लिए सारी दुनिया पड़ी है। यू कैन कंकर द वर्ल्ड, द होल वर्ल्ड इज फॉर यू। अगर आप डिमोरलाइज्ड हैं, अगर आपकी नेगेटिव थिंकिंग है, तो आपको सारी चीज़ें पॉजिटिव होते हुए भी भविष्य अंधकार में दिखेगा। भविष्य में आस्था रखिए, अपने में विश्वास रखिए, और आपका भविष्य बहुत उज्जवल होगा।
धन्यवाद डोवल जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर स्पीकिंग।